But no matter how well-intentioned the police may be, at a siege there's always the potential for things to go badly wrong. This one at Pointer Court in Northolt in West London started badly and then got worse. It began on Christmas Day in 1985, when a man called Errol Walker went to visit his estranged wife, who was staying with her stepsister. Walker attacked the stepsister and stabbed her to death. He then took the dead woman's 4-year-old daughter and held her hostage.
My job was difficult that day. It was a siege. Nobody can really teach you how to deal with it. And you've got to bear in mind that you've had a death, you've got a very young child being held with a knife to the throat. Errol Walker was in a state where he was totally irrational to you, totally didn't want to talk to you. He was continually at fever pitch whilst holding this child.
Because the situation was so extreme, the police commander allowed Walker's wife to act as an intermediary.
There should never be a situation where an intermediary should get into that position where the intermediary could be taken hostage.
But that's exactly what happened, and for a few moments a struggle developed.
We were lucky, we got away with it. We got away with it. But certainly none of us would really have wanted to have put that woman in danger at all.
That night, Peter Kruger took drinks and a Christmas present to the child. On Boxing Day, at Walker's request, another policeman was brought to the scene. Roy Herridge had dealt with Walker for other offences and knew him well.
He was a violent criminal. There's no ifs or buts or maybes about that. He'd been convicted of armed robbery in the past. But I felt that I'd built up over a number of years quite a close rapport with him, and I was confident that he could talk to me and I could talk to him without any problems to either of us. We brought him to the brink on a number of occasions, and he'd look out the door, he'd look out the window, he'd see where the armed officers were. And I think really now, in hindsight, I think the armed officers, although there was a necessity to have them there, were perhaps a little bit more on display than they should be. And certainly that made Errol Walker a little disconcerted. He felt that he was going to be shot.
We had been winning Errol Walker over slowly. We had been showing Errol Walker that he wasn't going to come to any harm by coming out. So we were building up this rapport with him throughout.
But no one told the armed officers hiding next door, and when Walker came out to grab a riot shield, they saw an opportunity.
That wasn't what I wanted to happen. I wanted Errol Walker to walk out and give himself up to me.
One member of the firearms team had acted on impulse, even taking some of his own colleagues by surprise. When the action went wrong, there was a crucial delay because they couldn't find their stun grenades. Meanwhile, inside the flat, Walker was threatening to stab the child to death. When the armed officers finally got inside, Walker was lying on the sofa with a knife to her throat. He was shot 3 times. At last, the child could be carried to safety.
I'm very sad that it ended in the way that it did. I'm glad that the child came out well and not severely injured. I'm sad that Errol Walker was shot. And I was sure that if negotiations had gone on, he would have come out and given himself up and handed the child over.
Errol Walker recovered from gunshot wounds and was sentenced to life imprisonment.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?